All right, what is up, everybody? This is Pete Jansen. Go back to the guy who's one across the DFS industry. Back for a 3-game slate. Sorry that I missed last week under the weather, but back for this one before the international break, and it's an interesting one. I think there's a lot of different directions you can go, and there's also probably, depending on lineups, going to be like a very cashy way people are going to go based on the three. So just a quick reminder before getting into it: like, subscribe, and comment. Let's just kind of talk about it. So we're going to start with Chelsea hosting Burnley. Chelsea's close to minus 400. It's the only total hovering around 3. And first and foremost, I guess the thing I'll say about Chelsea is it's going to be lineup dependent, right? So Mason Mount, I don't expect back. Seemed from what I read that it's very up in the air. He's been dealing with a non-COVID illness now for a few weeks, and I don't necessarily think that with the international break right around the corner that they test him. So you're probably going to have a lineup of some sort of Kai leading the line, some version of Hudson-Odoi or Barkley. Barkley would get really interesting if in, because I think he's pretty set to be on sets, or at least some share if in. Ziyech, who I'll talk about in a minute, is one of my favorite plays on the slate. Then Reece James and Ben Chilwell would round out the DFS-friendly ones. And then I guess you could throw Jorginho and the Loftus-Cheek discussion in there in the center midfield. Both are egregiously overpriced for what they do, but for a GPP player that wants super under-owned, at their prices, I don't see a lot of people playing them. So maybe that could get interesting. So let's just talk about the big pieces. I think Kai, because of the way Ford shakes out, does have a shot to be one of the most popular players on the slate. As weird as this sounds, because he's a goal scorer, that actually might make him a really good GPP fade, because if he doesn't bust, let's say that Chelsea scores 3 goals and none are through Kai, and let's say he has 6 or 7 DK, and you get the goal scorers and you get a Ford goal somewhere else, and Edouard from Palace or Tony, who might be pretty popular from Brentford, whoever else they start, you're immediately going to have big leverage. But in cash, 70-80% guy that could end you at a really, really tough position, you probably just eat the chalk and play him. So Kai, I think, is the top play in any format. Just understand the goal dependency, but some of you are going to build around. Then I think the wingbacks are the next big decision, right? So they're both expensive, Chilwell and Reece James. Reece James, I think, I don't know if I'm in the minority here, but I think I like saying I prefer him over Ben Chilwell, despite not taking set pieces, right? If Ziyech and Chilwell are on, I think that's the split, and I don't know that James will have a part, but James's open play value and goal scoring equity is really high. So is Chilwell's, I guess. I don't know. I'm talking myself around in circles here. But I like James a lot. He saved me last week. So maybe it's recency bias. I like him because he saved my butt badly last week with his 2 goals. I think 40 DK. But in cash, I think depending on if we can get the value, just trying to play Chilwell, James, Kai, and then Hakim Ziyech, who in midweek was back to Hakim Ziyech from Ajax. If we can get that combo and still make it all work, hopefully we get Luka Modrić in so we don't have to consider Conor Gallagher, then you're rolling. So I think I would love that. I think that's how I would love to build, but I think that there's a chance that you're possibly going to have to decide between the Chelsea fullbacks, and you might not be able to get both, or you might have to drop out Ziyech, and that gets tough. So let's talk about Ziyech. If you just go off of the EPL, just the EPL alone, you go, guy's going to play 70, 75 minutes, he's going to take a few set pieces but not do much else, I'm going to fade him. But if all of a sudden we look at, especially what he just did in Europe, where he had, 30-something DK, and 10 crosses, and 7 shots assisted, and shots on goal, that was the stuff we got all excited about at Ajax, and we wanted to see in the EPL, and we were like, oh my god, this guy's going to be a plug and play every week. 10,000, I don't care. 10,000 for 30 DK, I'll do that. That's the player we want, and I'm kind of scared to fade that, especially if he's getting comfortable. The rest of Chelsea, I think I kind of already went over it. Center mids are GPP only. Mindy obviously in play. They should have pretty good clean sheet odds here. If you have the salary, as always with goalies, if you have the salary to make it work, go for it. If not, then it is what it is. Burnley side of things, I think is all GPP. The only guy I can make a consideration for in cash is Dwight McNeil. I know I've referred to this before, but Dwight McNeil, 10 DK floor at City shows that he can kind of put up DK anywhere. I hope this isn't like a super cold take. I think I would rather play Edouard at 6,000 than Dwight McNeil at 6,000. But certainly, I couldn't blame you either way. If you were to take him, just understand the assist and goal equity, is very, very low. Definitely not a guy that you want to play in GPP. All right, going on to the really interesting game, which is Brentford hosting Norwich. Brentford is a sizable favorite, like minus 170, which is interesting, right? Because Norwich last year in the championship was the top team and would never have been this unfavored or this much of a dog, is a better way to say it, than they are. But I think it's a lot to say of how Norwich are playing versus Brentford. Yeah, Brentford's hitting a little slow stretch, but we've seen what they've done at home, right? I think it's okay to say dismantling Arsenal, first game, drawing to Liverpool in one of the most exciting games of the season. That home field advantage in Brentford is legit. And I think that there's a couple options we really need to strongly consider. At the top is Ivan Toney. He's shown actually a really good floor for a non-set piece taking striker. Getting 6, 7, 8 DK without a goal or assist, I mean, that's not nothing. All of a sudden you get a goal or assist, and now you're looking at 20s, which on this slate could be really, really big. So I like Toney. I think Matthias Jensen, from a cash perspective, if starting, it's really hard to fade. When he's been starting, he's gotten almost monopoly of set pieces. He's sub 6,000. He just falls into that trap of the center mids that I always kind of warn you all on, that they are set piece dependent. And if all of a sudden you catch a game script where, let's say, it's 1-0 before you know it, Ivan Toney scores, and then whoever the other striker is, Mbuemo or the other guy, can't think of his name, they score, and it's 2-0, 15 minutes in, Matthias Jensen is possibly screwed, right? He needs set pieces. He needed to be a part of the goal or assist there, and he got none of it. So, good cash play, maybe better GPP fade. Second striker is in play. Your wing backs, Sergei Knaus. If you did not see Matthias Jensen, has a chance at set pieces. And then I think Rico Henry at 4,000 is interesting too. And then just, kind of punts from there. So, but I do like Brentford. I think that Norwich, it was kind of obvious to see that reaction last week. I liked Norwich a lot. I like them a lot less here at Brentford. It'll be interesting on the Norwich side to see what type of ownership Rashica gets. From the forward perspective, he's going to look like he has one of the best floors. But I'm a little skeptical of it. Just a little skeptical. I think that you're almost overpaying for floor potential. Probably going to split sets, but the odds are the odds. These guys get paid a lot of money to get their odds right for a reason. And they're going to say Norwich is like plus 450. Like, if you took the teams out, right, you didn't see Brentford and you didn't see Norwich, and I told you that, I don't even have it in front of me. I want to say that Norwich is probably like plus 450. You could pay 8,000 for a split share of sets, and he's forward eligible. Would you be interested? Nobody would be interested. Everyone, no. GPP maybe, something like that. So I'll just throw that out there on Rashica. Rashica being in would lower the floor of Matthias Norman, who would split sets with him. All of a sudden, if you get like Billy Gilmore in there, now it gets even more nasty. And all that being said, freaking Kieran Dowell started the game taking set pieces for Norwich, so their sets are kind of a mess. You want to take a ticket to the Pookie party, be my guest. I tried last week when I really liked Norwich and didn't go as well. Always a threat to show up, but I'm much more on Brentford this match. Last one, only 3. Wolves are going to Palace. Palace coming off of most improbable win of the season. Has to be up there. Winning 2-0 at City. Here's the thing about Palace, right? If Luka Milivojevic is out, he does not play, then Conor Gallagher, is it fair to say maybe has the best floor in the slate? Up there with the Chelsea wingbacks, okay? Like a guy that I think just, he steps on the pitch, if he has monopoly set pieces, and he's going to get you 10 DK, which could be really valuable in this slate. Now, I'm kind of expecting Milivojevic in, but I hope he's not, because I think that I just would prefer to get that type of play in there. And then Gallagher, we also know not only does he have floor, but shoot, I mean, he just dropped 31 against City. He had 2 goals earlier. God, I'm blanking on who the 2 goals were. That's the only problem doing these driving videos, is I can't think of who he had the 2 for. But I know it killed me. It was only like 4,300. Freaking missed him completely, and he's just like banging in goals. Oh, yeah, he's gonna be under-owned. 50%. Oh my God, I suck. Right, one of those. So yeah, Conor Gallagher's a good player. Chelsea's got to find room for the guy. He needs, this loan spell needs to end. He's getting that team. It's just so hard to figure out where he would go, but you know, he's a hell of a player. So I think Zaha is interesting. I've mentioned Edward a lot. Zaha has a floor. Edward is going to be a little bit more goal dependent. Jordan Ayew, nobody will be on. That's interesting. Like Wolves do not, like, especially Wolves on the road, don't sit there and aren't like a team I'm going to avoid. Southampton, Jose Sa had to stand on his head one of the last Sundays a couple weeks back. I think he had like 30 DK because he had freaking 10 saves, I want to say. Maybe it wasn't 10. Maybe it was like 20. But I think he had an assist, clean sheet. Maybe it was like 7 saves. But like, he's seeing a lot of work. This isn't like the Wolves aren't clamping down on people. So, you know, Palace, especially at Selhurst Park, can definitely show up. So I think Palace is a cheeky GPP team, especially when people see this total. I don't think a lot of people are going to go to Palace. I think a lot more of the ownership will be on Brentford and on Chelsea. So those are the Palace pieces to look at. On the Wolves side of things, Alton-Uri is probably my favorite play by far. I think he's really, really strong cash play. Splitting sets with Moutinho, really active in open play. You can remember him scoring a few goals last season. You know, hits that byline a lot and actually does cross it. Unlike like Semedo, who just wants to center it back on the ground and you don't get a cross for that. So, like Alton-Uri, never João Moutinho, just never. Just no. Not now. Not ever. Storm, if you're watching this, don't come at me with any Moutinho takes tomorrow morning. None of that. So, if I play João Moutinho again this year, I will be shocked. And I feel like there should be, you guys put in the comments, I feel like there should be a penalty if you guys see me with Moutinho in cash. Like I should have to like do a drawing and give away cash, or worse for me, that those that know me in the FSI chat, worse for me, I'd have to give away crowns. That would like hurt me more than giving away cash. I got to hoard my crowns for the winter. But no Moutinho. I think you know, Wolves have a really good chance here to be with Norwich and Burnley kind of under-owned. So, you know, if you want to go like a Raul Alton-Uri stack or a Raul Trincao stack, or their left winger, I can't think of his name. The guy they got from the Bundesliga had a bad game, but you know, he's shown up with for some big games. So I think any type of stack you want to do with them, I think that'll be really under-owned. But you know, we're just talking GPP here, nothing in cash there. All right, I think that'll do it. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm glad to be back. I'm back, and then immediately we're getting a 2-week break. Maybe depending on my real life work schedule, try to drop a video or two if we have a really good international slate, one that at least we can project the lineups well. That's the hardest part about international, is just projecting some of these lineups, the call-ups, to give you guys some advice. But until then, just stay tuned to the feed. Appreciate you all watching. Good luck tomorrow.